Welcome to today's webinar on how you can put AI to work to power up your bookkeeping. I'm Ralph Tiergart. I lead education and professional development for AHOA. Webinars such as today's are intended for education and information sharing and not as advice or recommendations. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce Tiago Calleros, Director of Product for Docket. I'm going to do that again, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and back that up. I know we're recording here, but I'm going to back that up and I'll tell you why. It's because I forgot to advance to the slide on the disclaimer, all right?
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Welcome to today's webinar on how you can put AI to work to power up your bookkeeping. I'm Ralph Tiergart. I lead professional development and education at AHOA. Webinars such as today's are intended for advice, not recommendations. Today, it's my pleasure to welcome Tiago Calleros, Director of Product for Docket. Tiago, thanks for joining us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, Ralph. Thanks for the introduction. Yes, I'm very happy to be here today. My name is Tiago. I'm the Director of Product at Docket. I joined Docket 5 years ago, and before that, I was working at Intuit, and I was working on projects related to TurboTax and also QuickBooks. I'm super excited to be here. I've been living the accounting space for more than a decade now. And now with all this new revolution of AI, it has been a very exciting place to be. And I'm very happy to be here now talking about how you can automate your back office with an AI-powered bookkeeping.
Well, we're excited to have you here because we get a lot of questions. We have a lot of discussions about what's happening out there in the industry, and AI is always at the forefront of most of those conversations. So delighted you're here to be talking to us about this today. Just real quickly for those joining us, please take a look at your control panel for your go-to webinar. There should be a questions tab and a handouts tab. And for that questions tab, get familiar with where it is, because as Tiago's talking and going through things that interest you or things that cause you to maybe have some questions, we'd like you to type those questions in. We'll be monitoring those as we go along, and we'll get to all those questions toward the end of the webinar. And then also on the handouts tab, make sure you click that, because we've got a great ebook that Docket has put together for you, along with the companion piece, quick view summary of it. So make sure to take advantage of those two benefits for being on the webinar. And then finally, make sure you stay online for won't be a few minutes. Actually, we only have 3 questions. So I've got a 3-question survey, and it would help us incredibly if you give us your thoughts about not just today's webinar, but what you'd like to see in future Learning Journey webinars. So Tiago, with that, I'd like to turn it over to you, and let's talk about AI and bookkeeping and all that great stuff.
Sounds like a plan. So for today, the agenda for today, so let's start first talking about some of the accounting challenges that multi-entity business owners have. Then I'm gonna introduce what really means to have an AI-powered bookkeeping platform. And then I'm gonna talk about the playbook, like what does it really mean? What do you need to do to get to that stage? In the end, let's have some Q&A. Okay, so first thing, Ralph, you need to give me the access. Okay, give me.
There we go.
Okay, can you just move anything and to see how easy it is to remove my control? You just remove my control,
I
right?
just removed it. So let's go back. So what I'm doing here, did you move it to there or did I?
No, I'm not touching anything. Do you want to see if I can change right now?
Yeah, because what I'd like to do is leave this slide up and I say, let's turn it over to you. Then when I do that, I'm going to cut my camera like I just did. And I'm going to go right to here. And I'm going to click Give Controls to you.
Okay, and I can see the mouse now.
Now you should have control.
Yeah, now I can change.
Okay.
But my question is that if you just move your mouse, do you automatically remove my control?
I do. So if I touch anything now, I remove your control. So that's why I've got my hands off at
Okay.
this point.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so today's agenda, first let's talk about some challenges that multi-entity business owners have with accounting. And then I'm gonna introduce the AI-powered bookkeeping and what it is and the main advantage. Then after that, let's go over the playbook. What does it take to win? What are the main steps you need to get there? Of course, in the end, let's have some Q&A and then wrap up. Okay, so I want to highlight some of the accounting challenges that multi-entity hotel owners have. The first one that I want to talk about is about back office process. So as you all know, it takes time and resources to manage and train staff on your process. And also, if you're using a manual workflow, right, it's going to take you time them not only to train, but you'd like to do all those manual things. Invoices come, you need to add the data from the invoice on your system. So all of this is time consuming, and also need to train your staff for that. If someone leaves, then you need to hire someone. It's just something that it's not ideal, and it really hinders automation. The second thing that I want to talk about is always be on top of your industry metrics. What is your ADR? What's your payroll over revenue? If you want to run your business efficiently, you want to have them daily, you want to be making decisions based on this data every day or at least every week. So having this, not being able to have this is something that it really challenging to make business decision. Same thing related to your books, like if you're not having the books on time, if it's taking like weeks to get there, then you don't know really what's really going on with your business. You don't have insights in your profitability. Again, you're not going to be making decision at the time of need. You're going to be waiting to make decisions on data that already happened. Okay. The last one, but not least, during all this process of accounting, you're always going to be in touch with your accountant. There's always going to be Q&A, and you've been there. They are always going to be asking questions, flagging something to respond, and having providing this feedback to accounting. Accountants are usually time consuming. You need some time to sit down, or they're going to send you like a 1 or 2 emails. You don't know which email you need to respond, or maybe you respond to email you think you're good, but you're not. So there's always like that big question, like where I am, are we good? Am I gonna have my books on time? And then you find out that actually like you're the bottleneck, right? So this is another challenge that people have when doing their books, not using automation. So let's talk about first, what is the AI powered bookkeeping? A very easy way to summarize is two things. The first one is that you make all your back office digital, no manual paperwork, and then you leverage AI to automate the end-to-end process. By doing that, in the nutshell, you're gonna increase your business profitability, and you're gonna have cost savings, you're gonna have time savings, and faster and smarter decision making. And we're gonna go there in more details. So yes, cost savings, you don't need the same amount of resources to run your back office. Time savings, very obvious, right? You're going to be able to have data every day, and also at the same time, you're going to be able to uh, close your books in a much faster timeline. And in the end, of course, if you have the data and you have the report, you're able to make faster decision making. So what is the playbook? What does it take to win, right? What are the steps? What are steps you need to do? Like what do you need to request from this platform, from this bookkeeping process so that you can succeed? So I'm going to talk about like 4 steps, 4 things. The first one, the first one is that you need to have is the AI powered data extraction. And when I talk about this, just think about invoices, receipts, and bank transactions, right? Right now, you might be getting the invoices and putting the data, same thing for receipts. And when you get the bank transactions, you might need to input the transactions on your ledger. So what you need is to be able to automate all this process. So all the inputs are automatically uh, extracted, all the data is extracted and goes inside the system. So by doing that, you're going to be able to, reduce any errors of someone that's doing manually. And also you're going to be able to push this directly to your ledger and have already like your first set of reports continuous reconciled so that you can have your reports to review every day, which is basically the second part that I want to talk about. If all your invoice and receipt data and all your transactions are becoming and they are automatically categorized and pushed to the ledger, enables you to have a real-time salary report. It's gonna help you really understand your gross profit, and then you can have your general manager and give this to your general manager so that he can run your business better, your hotel better. Same time, you're gonna be able to have visibility on your labor and be able to really understand the operational costs of running your business and be able to make decisions related to labor at the right time instead of waiting for the overtime costs to get so high so that then you can make a decision. You can do this even before it happens. So the first thing, data extraction, being able to extract the data from invoice and receipts and from bank transactions, that will lead you to real-time salary reports so that you can make better business decisions. And if you have all those two, then you get to the final line, which is the month and close. That's going to be a breeze. So this month and close, if you're having this data, it should become something for you, just kind of a checkbox. You should be able to very easily just review the data, close your books, and then share the final report with your stakeholders. And of course, move on to the next month. So now I've talked about the data extraction that will give you the data on time. It's going to enable the reports, real-time reports that's going to take you to month and close that is faster than what you used to have. And also then you can move to the next time. But during this whole process, of course, the data is not perfect, right? So sometimes some transactions there come like check 345. There's no way someone or a system would be able to automatically categorize something like this. That's when the collaboration starts. If something like this happens, your accountant is going to reach out to you to ask like, what was this? Can you tell me more about this transaction? And which comes then to my fourth point. So having an efficient account and client communication is very helpful here. So the ideal scenario is that you have one place to review all the open items you have with your account. And even better if this is something you can do not only on web, but also on mobile. So you should be able to be in a position where like you just got an Uber, you're driving to your next meeting, you're busy, and you can just easily respond to all the open items and unblock the team to close the books faster, and you don't become the bottleneck. You can also visualize everything that's open and then even assign someone else from your team to address those items. And now I'm gonna show you like two quick demos that we have that shows a little bit about those functionalities. The first one is going to be related to the accountant client communication. The second one is going to be related to data extraction and reconciliation. So now let's go over the first demo, accountant client communication. Ralph, could you please play it? And I think
we don't have it right now, but we'll play it.
But let's say it's going to play.
Yeah.
And I'm
So
gonna do, when we play, is it Tiana? Is it gonna be just the image, no voiceover, and I'm gonna have to be talking about it?
I need to look at the one you sent me this morning. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm not sure.
But you have the
The
mobile,
voice,
the one, right?
yeah, the voice mobile one has audio.
Okay, and mine has audio as well. So I will assume that then it will be showing and we'll have the audio. So the first
Okay.
one, Ralph, we're gonna talk about is we're gonna show functionality that Docket has that someone who use Docket, they can easily go to their phone and they can see all the open items they have, and they can use NLP, natural language processing. They can just talk to the phone and respond, and they're gonna be easy to just say, okay, this is that's a transaction, right? Okay, this is a cost I have with office supplies. Done, swipe right. This is something, and then he can voice over. Okay, the next one, I have it here. It's gonna be more about when you upload an invoice, you're gonna see that all the data has been extracted. You're gonna mark this as paid, and then I'm gonna show that I'm also uploading that transaction. And after I upload that transaction is automatically categorized and matched with that invoice, and everything is pushed to the ledger. So those are like the two demos that we're gonna talk about. Let's assume that the two demos happen, and I'm gonna wrap up. As you can see, I give a quick demo of like how you can be super efficient with when collaborating with your accountant, and also like how real-time data extraction and reconciliation works. Now let's talk also a little bit about the real-life use case that we have, the Bluegrass Hotel Group. And Tiana, I know you're finalizing this slide, right?
Yeah, I actually have been updating it now. So if we just refresh, it'll show the updates. I took out the categories and just kind of made it a little more concise.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Bluegrass. Before they joined Docket, they had a very manual process to back office process. They were spending like 100 hours per month on expense management. They had, and just to have an idea of the size of this business, and they were like just reviewing manual review $300 to $400,000 of expenses manually, and they have no report. They were just using the traditional P&L report. So basically, they were doing all of this manually. Things were not on time, and they didn't have any insights on their business. When they joined Docket, they got first their account manager, dedicated account managers, to first have that additional person to help them during the process. And they also had the Docket software to automate everything. So they reduced more than 50% of their expense review due to our continuous reconciliation and also our integration with bank and credit cards. And they were able to achieve real-time reports for better business insights, and consequently, the whole team was able to focus on other areas of the company instead of doing the back office every day and manually, which helped also save costs. So the next slide, those are some things for you to think about when you're looking for AI-powered bookkeeping software. And they are related to what I was talking about today. I think the first one to think about, if you have more than one hotel, right, is like, does this software handle multi-entity financial management use case? Can I have a portfolio report? The second one is that what type of automation you're gonna have on your back office? What type of month-end close? What does it take to close the books? What is the capabilities provided? Can I have access? How often I'm going to be able to access my data? Is it daily, weekly? And of course, what type of collaboration tools I'm going to have? How can I make this whole process uh, something that is just, it's not taking time out of your day-to-day job? It's just something that is just embedded on your process, and it's just something that it doesn't make you a blocker or doesn't get things delayed because of communication. So now let's start for Q&A. Ralph, do you have any questions?
Yeah, Thiago, you mentioned earlier that you have spent some time with QuickBooks. a large percentage of our members use QuickBooks. And some of the first questions that I would have is, does it matter what accounting software you're using now? If you want to take advantage of an AI-powered back office, does that mean you're switching your entire accounting system, your bookkeeping system, or are there ways to take advantage of AI integrations and still stay on something like QuickBooks?
I think it depends on the solution that you're going to looking for. Some of the solutions is going to force you. Let's say you're in QuickBooks, and it's going to force you to get out of QuickBooks and use their end-to-end solution. You might be want to do this, which I don't recommend. Get a product here and there. You might get some automation, but I'm telling you, like, it's not going to be the full automation. Then you can keep your ledger. But you also have some solutions like Docket that works on top of QuickBooks as well. So we do the full automation, and the ledger, it is still QuickBooks, but more in the sense of more a ledger in the database, because you don't even need to go to QuickBooks anymore. You're going to be able to run all your business through Docket.
So that's interesting. So what you're saying is that you don't have to give up the QuickBooks solution that you have, because your solution sits on top of that and lets you operate your business using the AI features you're talking about from Docket, but through the existing QuickBooks accounting platform. Is that right?
That's correct. And give all the use cases that you don't have in QuickBooks, they're going to be there, like multi-business reporting, like data extraction, and industry-specific reports. So yes, you get something that is tailored for hospitality on top of something that a ledger that we know that it's there for years and it's trustworthy.
I think that'll be exciting for a lot of our members, because they do frequently like their QuickBooks solution. So it's good to know that they don't necessarily have to move from that. So when you're talking about a lot of these advantages to AI integration, what are some of the what have your clients said about? I know there's time saving involved. What are some of the other big advantages they're seeing besides just the time saving, which of course is huge? But what are the things they're noticing most about ways in which they're improving their business operations?
Yeah. So let me talk about a use case that happens a lot. Okay, it's duplicated invoices. So it's not like this happens a lot when, like, you're running your business, these invoices are coming left and right, and people are sometimes they are just like reviewing and moving on. So Docket, for instance, detect duplication. So if for whatever reason you upload an invoice for that same vendor, we check the invoice date, the category, we're gonna flag you, say, hey, this seems to be duplicated invoice. Do you want to review it? And this, just by doing something like this, it generates, I'm talking about thousands of dollars for some people, just to have this small. So it's not only that automation, it's everything that comes with it. It's like the line item extraction. You have an invoice, you want to doing line item extraction and categorization. Are things related to how to handle multi-entity accounting. Like sometimes you have like a Uber business, right, that spend and then wants to split the cost between business. If you're running something like QuickBooks right now, we're talking about like a lot of time to do this. Why something Docket, you can just basically split that invoice between business and have the settlement between those two businesses to be in a few clicks. So there's what I was talking about is more the core benefits, but if you really go and start thinking about all the features we have, or something like a platform like this would have, like you're gonna see that's much more. I could spend 2 more hours talking about that.
Well, it's interesting because one of your slides went to the subject of multi-entity reporting, and it's not uncommon at all for hotel owners to have either multiple hotels that are sharing in invoice or hotels and other business entities. Talk a little bit more about some of the bigger benefits that people see from being able to have this multi-entity reporting feature.
Yeah, I think there's two benefits, right? Like the when you got like the outcome, the multi-entity reporting, right? Look, in the end, you want to have a big picture view of all your business, right? And sometimes if you take a look at some of the business, uh, some of the business might be owning the others. And just when you get a portfolio and you remove the intercompany dependencies, that's when you start seeing the whole thing. At the same time, like if you're working with stakeholders like banks, this is what you need. This is in the end what's really what you're going to be presenting, right? It's just not one business, sometimes like all your portfolio. So that's the benefit, looking everything, comparing unit economics. Sometimes you have a smaller hotel and a bigger hotel, but if you have the unit of economics, like, okay, hours spent from housekeeping, then per room, right? Then you can compare your business side by side. You can use that unit of economics for each one of your business to compare and even to share knowledge between general managers, or to understand like, why is this one doing much better than the other? Let me see what's going on here, right? So I can help. So those are one of the benefits. But in order to get there as well, you do need, remember when I was talking about the data extraction and the categorization, you do need to have that data extraction and categorization to support multi-entity. Because if the invoices are coming, as you mentioned, that it's for two business, you also need to automate that split. Otherwise, then you're going to be doing manual work here and there.
I think that's probably one of the reasons why people spend so much time is on this topic in particular, is taking invoices between different business units and trying to allocate parts of those expenses to various businesses, where you're saving them a lot of time doing that. Let's shift real quickly, because one of the things that you mentioned earlier in your presentation is the idea of spending more of your time being forward-looking, using data to inform decisions while with information that gives you the opportunity to make a difference, while you can still make a difference and change your decisions about what you want to do in the future with information you're receiving today. You know, if using an automated solution such as what you're describing is giving you real life information today, what are the kinds of decisions that you think your solution is empowering that would let owners make quicker decisions about how they're operating their business because they're getting real-time data and real-time insights?
Yeah. So a good example of this is on labor. So for instance, Docket has an integration with time clock. And if you think about labor, right, you have the time clock data, and then you run your payroll. The moment you run your payroll, that's past, it's gone, right? So if you have a real-time time clock data with granular data about the employees and understanding how many hours they already use regular, you can start understanding and have a perspective on your schedule to change to not have more overtime. On your labor, like, you definitely want to decrease the amount of overtime. So if you have that data, you can start making decisions about, like, employee A is about to reach their regular hours. Maybe you want to change your schedule so that you can use that other person that's not going to go for overtime the last day. So you can do this type of changes and minimize overtime hours.
So your solution is giving people that insights into something even like by employee, where they are in terms of hours to be worked before they get to overtime. You're showing that to them in real time.
Yes, we import like regular hours, regular wage, overtime hours, overtime wage per employee, and then you can take a look at this. You can analyze and understand who's about to reach their overtime hours.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. Well, Tiago, that would be an example of, if I've got no questions, I'm going to go to the questions that you've given me to ask, or I would probably ask a couple of those questions that I asked you. And I do find it interesting because as you're giving this presentation, I give you two pieces of advice.
Okay.
One is that our audience really doesn't want to feel like they're being sold to. And so you work for Docket, we know that. But as you're giving your presentation, I think one of the things you might want to think about is, imagine you're giving this presentation as a consultant, and a consultant to thousands of people who use QuickBooks, because you are. These are thousands of people who use QuickBooks. And we both know, I've spent a lot of time looking at and working with QuickBooks for accounting solutions for hotel owners. And so I'm very well aware of benefits, but also the challenges. Things like the chart of accounts. I have seen some wildly bizarre charts of accounts used in QuickBooks that give you no insight whatsoever, to the point where if I said, Tiago, what's your gross operating profit? If you've not converted to a USALI version of accounting, whatever percentage you give me is going to be wrong in industry terms. I know it, because if you've not categorized things, at least departmentally, according to some USALI construct, no matter what percentage you say is wrong. And so one of the things that and I've had this conversation, I think, with Gene and Tiana. I don't know if we got into this, but one of the challenges is that a lot of the folks who use QuickBooks, what they don't see are two things: the value of closing your books monthly, and the value of migrating to some resemblance of a uniform system of accounts for lodging. It doesn't mean you have to use all the codes, but it does mean you have to use the USALI defined departments, and you have to make some effort to allocate labor back to the departments in which they're consumed. And if you do those things, then you've got a USALI comparable construct that would allow you to then say, well, okay, my GOP is 42%, and that's a percentage that calculates in industry terms. So what I would do as you're thinking about your presentation is understand that most everybody there is probably using some version of QuickBooks, and
Okay.
and what they hear from people is that you can't be taken seriously by your banker until you leave QuickBooks and you move to M3, or you leave QuickBooks and you go to Sage, or you leave QuickBooks and you go to something else. What I heard you say is that because Docket sits on top of QuickBooks, it can actually help QuickBooks play up and act like and look like other accounting systems that operate, in a different way. Now, you may not want to go there. I'm just ideating. I got
that goes against just say selling Docket, right?
What's that?
No, I totally agree, but if I would be a biased person to talk about that, right? I totally agree with you. Like, that's why we get a lot of people from QuickBooks. Becomes a no-brainer for them to go to Docket. And I agree with you. And QuickBooks does bring the credentials and the data needed to be respected with all the stakeholders, because you're going to have the exactly same type of financial reports that you usually get with those more like tailored accounting tools for hospitality.
All right, let me ask a dumb guy question first. So, do you guys have your own bookkeeping system? In other words, do people leave QuickBooks and use your bookkeeping system?
No, we are on top of QuickBooks.
So if they're not on QuickBooks,
is our ledger. QuickBooks is
so
our
if
ledger.
they're not using QuickBooks, how would someone use Docket if they're not on QuickBooks?
We would migrate them to Docket. let's say they are using any other tool, we would migrate them to Docket, and they would still use Docket, but Docket is on top of a new QuickBooks that they would have. Someone who the QuickBooks comes with it. But it's important to remind that the moment that you switch to Docket, you as a business owner, you will not be going to QuickBooks anymore. So the QuickBooks becomes transparent for you.
I gotcha. Are there any other accounting systems that your system works the same way with?
Right now it's QuickBooks.
QuickBooks.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't dwell on it at all, and you might not even want to mention it. I mean, you guys might want to say, forget what Tiergart just said, but what I get excited about is because I know that a lot of the people who use QuickBooks are being told by others that they're playing with a middle school level version of accounting, and until they use something like M3, they won't be taken seriously. And you've worked for QuickBooks, so you know about this. And so what I think is interesting is that what Docket does, as I'm looking at, or one of the things among the many things it does, is it amplifies the capabilities of the underlying accounting system incredibly. And so I think it's important, even if it's just a parenthetical, that, look, if you're on QuickBooks, we can help substantially amplify the capabilities of your bookkeeping and reporting system in ways that QuickBooks alone could never do. So this is an add-on plus to what you're doing with QuickBooks.
Exactly.
And I think that what made me think of it was in your introduction when you say you came from QuickBooks, because if I'm a possible customer for Docket and I go, they've got people over there who absolutely understand QuickBooks and have built something to make QuickBooks work better than QuickBooks could work natively. And I think that's a really interesting angle. So
okay.
I've already spent too much time on that angle, but your audience is filled with QuickBooks users. So if you feel like there's a way to tie in the credentials that you have having come from QuickBooks into make Ralph feel better that Ralph's a QuickBooks user, so that means you understand me incredibly well because you came from QuickBooks. So you understand me as a QuickBooks user really, really well, which is going to give me comfort that as I look at your solution, you're making my solution better because you know exactly what I've got and how it was built. That's a feel good for me as being out there in the audience.
Okay, I'll make sure I emphasize that. And in terms of the Q&A, I think you asked some very nice questions. If you want to just make that same conversation again, I think you hit some very interesting points. When I talked
I was
about
writing those questions down.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Every
saying.
once in a while, even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you touched about like give an example of real-time data, how it can impact your business, right?
Yeah.
The multi-entity, what it really means, and I think I don't remember the first one, but I thought your questions were really nice.
Well, at my core, I actually am a hotel guy, so I do kind of my brain is kind of wired to think hotel. So okay, yeah. So again, we'll play the Q&A. And by the way, I think we're fine on the recording because my dashboard is waiting for me to stop the recording. So so obviously it's been recording all of this, which is great. So I'm no longer worried about that. So we can take that anxiety off the table. This is working just the way it looks like it's supposed to work. If I see anything differently, I'm going to watch this just to make sure that the recording does resolve well. But I don't think we have to worry about that. For Tuesday, then, yeah, just keep working on your deck. And then I'll use whatever version you have for it. Make sure to let me know if you've got a video, get it to me as early as you can so I can get it there to where I can get to it and play it.
Okay.
And I think we'll be just fine. We'll keep it casual and you've got a feel for the flow now. So, focus on what you want to talk about. And I think we'll be in good shape.
Sounds good.
handouts too. If you give me the handouts, I'll get those in too also.
Yep, I'll send those over.
All right.
Okay.
Any other questions on today? Thoughts, questions, concerns?
No, I think it went really well. So on the day of, we would want to join maybe 10 minutes early. Is that right? Just to make sure everything's working. Is that kind of
I
how
would
you do it
say
usually?
20. Let's try for 20 minutes early.
Okay, I blocked that on the calendar, so it should be fine.
Yeah, just to make sure, because sometimes people are having issue with cameras or microphones or something like that. We want to make sure those all get resolved and err on the side of giving us time to fix problems rather than, oh no, something's not working and now it's showtime and we have
Yeah,
to.
totally. Okay, that makes sense. And then Tiago, just so you know, on the live day, it's actually going to be Christine on the webinar with you. I'm going to record a testimonial for the Gary video, so
Got it.
she will be
And
your point of contact on the day of, but everything up until then I'll take care of. So just so you know.
got it. And just I have here in my calendar 1:45. Sorry, 11:45, not 9:45 Pacific. That 45 is actually it's at 10 a.m. Does it already include the 15
The
minutes?
webinar is 1 p.m. Eastern.
1
Yeah.
p.m. Eastern. Okay, so,
So-
that the invite I got from you, Tiana, includes the 15 minutes before the meeting. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
so
the 15
1 p.m.
minutes
Eastern.
ahead.
So think about it as we need to get on at probably 12:40 Eastern. I'm actually going to be in Central Time Zone, but I always load these up in. That's, Tiana, why I got messed up, is because
Yeah, no worries.
I knew it was 1 o'clock for me, but then I screwed it up because it's supposed to be 2 p.m. Eastern, which for me is going to be 1, and for you is going to be 10. But let's hop on 20 minutes early, and that way we can just do mic checks and camera checks and all that good stuff.
Okay, perfect. I'll make it for 9:40 my time, and then we should be good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, sounds good. I think we're all set, and then I have a list of the stuff that I owe you, Ralph, so I'll get those over to you by end of day today. And yeah, I think it's looking good.
All right. Okay, well,
Awesome.
if you guys have any questions individually, feel free to reach out. That's fine. Otherwise,
Sure.
we'll hook up again on Tuesday.
Okay, sounds great. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you
All right.
guys next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Tiago.
you. Bye.
Bye.